Hola. En esta lección vamos a hablar sobre los verbos ser y estar. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about the verbs ser and estar. Ser and estar are both used to express being in Spanish. So when we're saying that something is, or some things are, or I am, then we use ser or estar. So we've already been utilizing these as we've gone throughout the course, and even other ways in which we express being. For example, using tener if we're expressing how old someone is. In Spanish, they don't say I am 20 years old. They say yo tengo 20 años. I have 20 years. So keeping an open mind here, I want you to think about how often there are multiple contexts and meanings to certain words that we use. We may have a single word that we use, but if it has different contexts, if it has different meanings and different contexts to its use, then there might not all be the same word for all those different contexts in Spanish. So where we may be saying, for example, I am tall, I use ser. Whereas if I'm saying I am happy, I use estar. But if I say I am 20 years old, I would use tener to have. So you saw this as well in the lesson of saber y conocer. If you recall, both of those verbs mean to know, and we only use this word to know in English. But if we're, depending on the context that we're using, we might use saber or we might use conocer. So we know that saying to know, we can know things in various different ways. So sometimes in one language, we may have one word we use for multiple things, whereas in another language, there would be multiple words to describing different things and different ways that word can be used. Some cultures may have many words for the word snow, depending on the type of snow. Is it icy snow? Is it powdery snow? So it goes in the same category as thinking of what are different contexts of the words that we use, and it helps us to keep an open mind and realize that everything's not always going to be translated word for word. So that's something I want you to think about in this lesson as we talk through ser versus estar. Because this is a perfect example of this. And like I said, saber y conocer are other great examples of this phenomenon. And it happens both ways. As I mentioned in the previous lesson on the weather, the word el tiempo, one word in Spanish, has multiple meanings in English. We could translate that depending on context. El tiempo could mean the weather, but el tiempo could also mean time, right? So keeping in mind that it kind of works on both sides. So we may have different words we use for different things in English, whereas there could be the same word used for those two things in Español. Y al revés, right? Viceversa. So let's talk about ser and estar. Ser is what we're going to use when we are identifying something or someone. We could be describing them, their personality, their physical appearance, or we're using it to identify who they are, right? What's their profession? What's their religion? Por ejemplo, ella es una chica, right? She's a girl. Mario es un profesor. That's his profession. He's a professor, right? Elena es una estudiante. Elena is a student. We're identifying those people by maybe what they do or something they're a part of. We could say, él es católico. He's Catholic. Okay? So religious is an identifying factor. El chico es alto. The boy is tall. La chica es muy simpática. The girl is very nice. So now we're describing the individuals based on either appearance or personality traits. If we're identifying a thing, for example, I might say, ¿Qué es? ¿Qué es eso? If I point to something, what is that? Oh, es mi teléfono. Okay? If I'm identifying, an object, I'm going to use this verb ser as well. If I'm telling the origin of something or nationality, which I would put nationality in that category as identifying who you are, right? But telling the origin or nationality of someone, we use ser, okay? Ser, él es de Puerto Rico. That's where he's from, right? I'm not saying he's located there, okay? Important to note, I'm saying he is from there, okay? Maybe he lives in Florida, pero es de Puerto Rico, right? Él es puertorriqueño. Es puertorriqueño, I'm telling you his nationality, right? Él es puertorriqueño. Expressing the day, the date, the season, okay? Anything in that range, and telling time, we're always going to use ser, right? Hoy es lunes, mañana es martes. Es el 8 de julio, the date, right? Es verano, the season, okay? Es julio, the month. Okay? Telling time. Son las 9 de la mañana. Es la 1 de la mañana. Okay? So remember, when we tell time, we always use ser. And then indicating possessive of something belongs to someone, we say like es de. Similar to saying the origin of something. I could say la naranja es de Puerto Rico, right? The orange is from Puerto Rico. But I could also say, la naranja es de Mario. It's Mario's orange. The orange is of Mario. So when I'm using it as possession, you'll usually know because it'll be es de and then a person. So you know that that's meaning that person possesses that item. If you hear es de or son de and then a location, then you know that you're stating that the person is or persons are from that place. So I could say, esa raqueta es de Alemania. This racket, tennis racket, right? This racket is from Germany. Esa raqueta es de Susana. Okay, that racket is Susana's. Okay, now I'm saying it's Susana. So es de could indicate one or the other depending on what follows there. But always going to use ser with possession, time, day, date, season, month, with origin and nationality, and with identifying or describing someone or something. Now, ser, on the other hand, is going to be used anytime we are identifying a physical location of a person, place, or thing. So if I were to say Juan es de Puerto Rico, I'm saying he's from Puerto Rico, es de Puerto Rico. But if I say Juan is in Puerto Rico, está en Puerto Rico, right? El equipo de fútbol está en el estadio. The football team is in the stadium. Remember, if we're using en to say where something is located in, you're going to use estar, right? And if you're saying is from, you're going to use es or son. Es de, son de, está en, están en, or estamos en, and so on and so forth. We also use estar, and it's not listed on here, but we use estar anytime we're talking about a condition, okay? How one is feeling, the condition of the weather. Está soleado, está nublado, right? That's the condition of the weather. Yo estoy contenta. Yo estoy triste. That's my mood, my condition. That's how I'm feeling, right? ¿Cómo estás? I'm asking you how you're doing. So estar is always used with your conditions or how someone is feeling. So a temporary condition or feeling that could change. You might feel this way today. You might feel this way tomorrow. Estoy aburrida. Maybe I'm bored, right? You need a estar. But a permanent characteristic, something that kind of identifies you characteristically, like your personality, what you're like, I could say, él es muy triste. Ella es una persona contenta. Now I'm describing them. Yes, those are adjectives that seem like feelings, but now they're being used as particular characteristics or traits because I'm using ser. So ser is identifying someone, sort of a permanent characteristic of that person. Even, of course, we can, change our hair color. We can grow taller over time. Things can change. I can be gorda one day and flaca the next, right? But we know that ser is used for that identifying factors, whereas estar is for how one's feeling, the condition one's in, okay? We know that ser is used for origin, where someone is from, what their nationality is, whereas estar is used for a location of something. Think about that. That can change location. It could be here now. It could be there another time. Of course, you build a building, it's probably not going to move and change, right? So I try to steer clear of the temporary versus permanent, but it's kind of a way to think about it in some terms, okay? You might be here now, but you'll be somewhere else later, but you're always going to be from Florida, okay? And then finally, the estar is always used for the present progressive. We learned this in the last lesson, el presente progresivo. When an action is indicated in taking place at that moment and in progress, we use estar. When I say I am playing tennis, he is going to the store, we are eating dinner, we say está, right? Está, están, estamos, está. Okay. So here's some other just examples, as I said, indicating what the subject is like, inherent traits or qualities, versus indicating the physical or emotional state, condition, what they're feeling like, okay? So let's look at some examples of this. Es alto, simpático y muy fuerte, okay? Oscar es nervioso. Oscar. La nieve es fría. Adela es muy guapa, okay? We are now giving descriptions, characteristics that are inherent. He's tall, he's nice, he's strong. Okay, it has nothing to do with what he's acting like today or how he feels today. It's just in general describing that person. Oscar es nervioso. He's not feeling nervous today. What I'm saying is he's a nervous person. Es nervioso, I'm describing him as like just a nervous, anxious type person, right? La nieve es fría. The snow is cold. I'm not talking about the condition of the snow right now. I'm saying snow in general is cold, right? It has to be. It's frozen, right? So, la nieve es fría. Oh, it's cold. Adela es muy guapa. It's a characteristic. Adela is very pretty, so I'm describing her characteristic, okay? So, as you see here, ser is the only option that can be used, the only option with adjectives that can use to express inherent qualities. So Santiago es inteligente y trabajador. I'm saying he's very intelligent, he's hardworking, okay? That is an inherent trait about him. I'm describing him, okay? Estar, let's look at the examples of estar, okay? To contrast that, his characteristics, I can tell how he's feeling. Santiago está triste y cansado. Santiago is feeling sad and he's feeling tired, right? So now I am saying that he is, I'm expressing how he feels, his state of being. So let's look at these examples. Ahora está un poco enfermo. Now she is a little sick, okay? Oscar está nervioso, tiene un examen. Now I'm saying that Oscar is feeling nervous. He's nervous because he has an exam. He's feeling that way now. Esta sopa está fría, okay? Sopa, soup is not normally cold unless it's certain type, right? But típicamente, so now I'm describing the condition of this particular soup. It is cold, right? Whereas la nieve es fría, it's always cold. Snow's always going to be cold, right? But we're saying la sopa está fría because that's the condition of this soup. And soup is not in general normally fría, right? Adela está muy guapa hoy. Now I'm describing Adela. Yes, I said she's very pretty, but when I say Adela está muy guapa hoy, I'm saying that, hey, look at Adela today. She looks really nice, right? She's fixed up. She's dressed up in, you know, maybe fancy clothes and hair and makeup, and she just looks really nice today. So when I say está, it doesn't mean that I don't think that person looks that way all the time, but I'm just emphasizing or expressing that that person is appearing that way today. So, you know, estás muy bonita hoy. If I say estás muy bonita hoy, it's like saying you look really pretty today. Doesn't mean I don't think you're always pretty. I can say eres muy bonita. That's saying you're always pretty. But if I say estás muy bonita, I'm telling you that you look pretty today. Okay? So keep in mind the difference in what we mean when we use one or the other. Sometimes we can use the same adjectives, but the meaning changes based on whether we are talking about an inherent trait in that person or their physical or state of being at that time. Okay, here's some examples. What I want you to do is pause the video, go through and practice them, unpause the video, and then you can see the answers. All right. Adios.